about a light, a very bright, intense light that was pacing the car. Finally, with all this argument, Judy Doherty, the car pulls over to the side of the road. She gets out to try to look at this light. Everybody in the car remembers her getting back in, complaining about being nauseous and thirsty, and they all drive home to be astonished by the relatives, worried, saying, "Where have you been?" They were 2 hours late, and no one in the car was aware that there was any time loss.
The whole account is over 4 hours long. We're just going to see a brief clip from it.
Now you're standing outside your car. Now you're looking up. You can describe your impressions. What are your impressions?
It's like a spotlight that's shining down on the back of my car. And it's like it has substance to it. I can see an animal being taken up in this. I can see it squirming and trying to get free. And it's like it's being sucked up. It's done very quickly. But the calf doesn't die immediately.
How is it being cut up? With knives?
Instruments of some kind.
Can you describe the instruments?
They're like a knife, but they have different kind of handles. More like a razor that's doesn't have movable parts, but like a straight razor type. There's tissue. It's laid out flat and smooth. It glistens. And the needles, there's needles in it, or what appears to be like needles that may be probes, I don't know.
As a hypnotist, I know that hypnosis is not a truth drug. Why did she need hypnosis?
This was an effort to try to understand what might have happened that subsequently caused the headaches and the nightmares, and an entire family of 11, 12 people remembering this trauma that night.
I had taken a walk in the woods. It was about 9:30 in the morning, and I knew this area behind my grandmother's house really well, and I took a different path that day. Well, I'll go this way. And as I was coming up the hill, this small being just stepped out from behind a tree and took me, started leading me up to this area where there was a clearing. And as I walked out of the trees, there was this huge craft, a triangular craft just above the tree lines. It was beautiful. As scared as I was, it just put me in awe of it, because it was shiny, like stainless steel,
yeah,
silvery, and I felt myself being drawn up like a vacuum almost, just lifted up.
How old were you then?
12.
12, yeah.
And the next thing I remember after the going up was being on a table, and that's the first time they did what like a gynecological exam on me.
For a 12-year-old kid?
Mm-hmm. And
no
it
wonder
was,
you were scared.
Yeah, it was a shock, because I was pretty naive. I didn't really have any clue of how my body worked anyway, and then to have these things around me and they checked me out and they put something in me, and it was really traumatic at the time. I feel like it sort of took some of my innocence away at the time, and it bothered me.
Have you any idea what they put inside you?
It was an instrument. I don't really know. It was like a tube-like instrument, like a gynecologist would use in a way.
Can you describe the aliens for me? How did they look like?
They were small, about that high, and no hair, large dark eyes, just a little, like a bump and two slits for a nose and a slit for a mouth that never moved. Well, maybe it might open a little bit, but as far as jaw movement, there wasn't any.
Hands and feet?
I remember 3 fingers and a thumb, and the feet, I never saw them more than, I don't know if they were wearing some kind of footwear or what, that it seemed to be like a one-piece, smooth-fitting thing, whatever it was. The hardest? Was being taken and having to have sex with one, which was very, very difficult. It was awful, really, you know, but it didn't seem like it was an evil intent. It was just they were just very unconcerned about my emotions through the whole thing. It seemed to be an experiment of some sort with a type of a mixed being, not just like the little one I described, but different.
Mixture. Mixture of a human being?
I assume so. I mean, it looked a little more like a human than these other kind did.
Have you ever seen children or mixtures?
Yes, I was shown several. Some were mine. They told me were mine. Some.
Do you really think that they're yours?
The first time I was shown one that they said was mine, I was 15. And they brought me into this room. It was dimly lighted except for this little container. And I was kind of urged to go look at it. And it was a little small being with the head seemed bigger than the body, you know, out of proportion. And she had large eyes, but they weren't all black. They had
The baby. The mixture of an alien and a human being.
Yeah, that they led me to believe it was mine, and I didn't want to believe it. And, you know, I didn't want anything to do with it. And they kept urging me to pick it up. And I resisted, but for some reason I did anyway. And it was like the instant I held it, I knew it was mine. There was some feeling or something of just holding it that I felt suddenly attached to it. And I was no longer afraid of it. I was protective and amazed because I was only 15 and to feel it was mine. And it was important for some reason that they wanted me to hold it, to touch it. And I didn't want to give it back up once I did. I was really upset when they took it back from me. But it looked a little more human. It had a little more of a nose and a mouth, kind of squeaked, made a sound.
What do you feel when you're telling me this story now?
I wonder about it, about her. I've been shown her at various stages as she's grown. And I wonder, you know, where she is and what kind of life she has.